You're about to go to a conference. Are you feeling nervous or a bit uptight about networking and meeting new people? I can promise you, so do I, very often. In this video, I'm going to share with you some tips and techniques on how you can make the most out of your networking event. Because you know what? The one limiting resource we all have is time. So that one day or half a day you're spending at a conference or at an event, you can either let it be wasted or it can become a true investment. My name is Harun Rabbani, and I've been in the field of networking since the mid-90s when I sold medical equipment. And then it was something I had to do big time when I set up my own business in the early 2000s. The reason I'm doing this video right now is because A, I'm fed up with seeing people waste their time during networking events, and also people getting anxious about networking when you can do something about it. In addition to that, in a few days' time, at the time of recording, we are hosting our second annual Sustainability UnConference, of which I am one of the directors. So if you are going to that UnConference and you watch this in time, then make sure you make notes and take advantage of what I'm about to share with you. But before I share with you the tips, here are 7 mistakes people make when they go networking. Number 1, they try to sell themselves. What do I mean by that? Even when people take trade stands in big conferences, like the medical conferences I used to attend, yes, we are trying to generate sales leads, but very rarely are we trying to sell a product or a service at such an event. So unless you're selling commodities, then a typical conference or unconference is not about selling. And you can tell that people are a bit uncomfortable or they're trying to sell to somebody because one of the first questions they ask when they meet somebody is, after they ask their name, what do you do? That's such a boring question. I'm sorry, but this is not the way to network and build long-term relationships. The second big mistake people make is that they talk too much. So you meet someone and you are blurting out a pitch, a backstory, everything. And you know what they are hearing? Blah, 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 blah. They are hearing nothing because they're too busy ready to pitch to you. So it's a relationship that is just not going to get started. So instead of thinking me, swap it around and start thinking you. Let me get to know you. The third big mistake they make is they are using this opportunity to collect business cards or connections on LinkedIn or some other social media. Then what? What is the point if you're not going to do something with that relationship? Fourth big mistake people make is before they come to the event, they haven't got a goal set in mind. They haven't got an intention. They haven't got a vision of what they want out of that event. So for example, every month I go to the Birmingham Business Network, which is attended primarily by key decision makers. My big intent is, number 1, to understand the people in that small network. And the second very important intent is to have at least 3 follow-up meetings with the individuals present. So in other words, there might be 20, 30, 50 people there. I just want 3 quality one-to-one meetings. In the case of the unconference, as one of the directors, my number 1 intent is to build community, bring people together, and then support the community beyond that. What about you? Do you have a project that you want it supported, or are you coming into the unconference wanting to learn about other people's projects? Don't come in with that transactional approach. Come in with the approach of either learning, providing some kind of service, being of service. Next big mistake people make is they fail to follow up. When you meet someone for the very first time, what are you going to do to follow up? Is it just that once in a lifetime meeting and you'll never meet again except until the next meeting? Are you going to have a one-to-one? Are you going to do another meeting at the event? Because sometimes you can meet someone at an event and then have a bigger meeting later on that day. How are you going to maintain that relationship? The sixth one is poor energy or a lack of presence. So I remember years ago, I was talking to a local politician. He came up to me to meet me. He saw that I was the leader of the organization and he was all very interested, so it seemed. And as soon as I started speaking or asking him questions, his eyes were everywhere looking for who's the next person they want to meet. That is a terrible way to build a relationship. So if you are with someone, be with them. There might be 100, 200, 1,000 people talking away. Be totally present with them. And also have the energy of enthusiasm and curiosity and the willingness to learn about this individual. And the seventh and final thing I want to cover in this situation is this. Going back to the me approach, do the opposite. And I've mentioned this word many times already. Be of service. So meet someone and come from this angle of how can I be of service to you? I might not be able to provide a product for my company, but I might still be able to serve you. So, for example, I am a connector. I have a lot of good quality connections. If I understand someone well enough and I think that they might be able to connect with somebody I know, then I will be out of service. I'll ask them, who would you like to know? Who would you like to meet that I can introduce you to? One of the most beautiful things about this approach is this other person I would have connected them to, I already have a relationship. So we have a trusted connection there. And this person that I'm meeting, I'll be able to transfer over that trust without them having to spend months and years to build up a relationship. So be of service to the people you are in front of. Okay, so let's come on to how do you make conversation? This is the technique I learned at Leeds Junior Chamber of Commerce more than a couple of decades ago. And you know what? It serves me to this day. Believe it or not, even when I attend events, I still have social anxiety. So I use this technique, it's a memory hook, to remind myself of what kind of questions I want to ask. Here's what I'd like for you to do in this exercise. You can listen to this bit again. In any kind of memory technique you want to learn, you want to, first of all, close your eyes, imagine whatever it is that you're imagining, and make it that image as vivid and colorful and bright as possible. If you're listening to this right now, second time around, close your eyes. Imagine there is this beautiful garden pathway leading from the fence to somebody's house. This is where we start getting creative. On top of the house is this ginormous dining table. I don't know what a dining table is doing on top of the house. It's usually inside. There's this ginormous dining table sitting on top of the house on the roof, and it's surrounded by chairs. On top of the dining table, you've got the most humongous tennis racket. And then finally, on top of that tennis racket is a light bulb. So let's go through this again. There's a beautiful garden pathway leading to this gorgeous house. On top of the house is a dining table surrounded by chairs. On top of that table is a massive tennis racket. And on top of the tennis racket is a light bulb, shining light in all directions, just like a lighthouse. So how do you use this memory technique? First of all, when you meet someone for the first time, read their name on their badge or ask them. So the way I do it, if they don't have a name badge, I'll say, my name is Harun, what's yours? And I'll put my hand out there, eye to eye contact, and I'll shake their hands. Sometimes they don't shake their hands, that's fine, but smile, tell them your name, ask them, so what is your name? And they'll say whatever their name is, my name is John, or my name is Susan. And because you're at a conference, you might ask something like, did you have to travel far to get here this morning? They might say, no, well, oh, so you're local. Which area do you live in now? I'm originally from Birmingham. And they might say, I live in Lozells or I live in Edgbaston. It might be an area that I don't know. So once you've asked them their name, remember the garden path? That represents the distance they travel to get to their building. And you might say something like, I've just come from Newnham Village, which is where I used to live in, by the way, in the countryside. What about you? Did you have to travel far? They might say, oh, no, I just live up the road. And they might say something like, I live in Edgbaston. So you've got a bit of a conversation piece going there. The next thing is, what's it like living in Edgbaston? Or what's it like living, even if you know the area, by the way, what's it like living in Newnham? And you've got another conversation piece. Now, the dining table represents family. So in my case, if I was mentioning Newnham, I might say something like, I used to live with my partner there, and it was the most amazing environment. How about you? Do you live with family or friends? And it sounds a bit personal. Remember, this is a two-way conversation. You'll be asking each other these same similar type of questions and building upon these foundations. So by the time you get to the family bit, it won't sound overly personal. But if it does, just back off slightly. And one of the next things that a lot of people do is go straight to work. Don't do that. Ask them, so what do you do in your spare time? Or if you're uncomfortable asking them directly, you might say, I spend a lot of time going for a walk in the woods. And when I was younger, I used to do martial arts 8 days a week. Yeah, 8 days a week. What about you? What do you do to keep yourself occupied besides work? If you've noticed, everything's been relatively gentle and we get to this point where you're talking about something that they do in their spare time. Clearly, it'll be something that they enjoy. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it, right? The tennis racket represents the leisure activities that they do, or things they do for sports or in their spare time. And then finally, the light bulb. You might ask them, so what sector do you work in? What industry do you work in? whatever it is that they say, you say, and what do you do within that? Then you ask them, light bulb, what's the latest news in recruitment? Or somebody else might be working in construction. What's the big thing going on in the construction industry for you? The good news is you have that script in your head. They don't know your script. So this whole conversation, and it is a conversation, isn't an interrogation. It allows them to relax and to talk about what they're most passionate about. Can you see the difference between approaching an individual saying that versus what do you do then? Now, if you're at a conference like the Sustainability UnConference, you might ask, so what is it that you enjoy most about sustainability in your business? Or how long have you been in the whole sustainability? And from all of this, you might start having a conversation about sustainability. You might be talking about what it is you're doing, and you can ask them what they're doing with their business or planning to do or hoping to do with their business. That's the 4 steps. Garden path leading to a house. Where did you come from? Where do you live? Talk about their family or their local environment. Talk about their hobbies and their leisure activities. And finally, the big idea. Now, when you come to a specific conference like the Sustainability UnConference, you might ask questions like, what would you like to see at this unconference? What would you like to get out of it? Are you looking forward to meeting anyone in particular or seeing anything in particular? So that is the beginning of your conversation. Once you've had the conversation, you might think, you know what, I'd like to meet this person and learn a bit more about them because I think we've got some mutual interest. That's the key critical thing. Set up a one-to-one meeting, preferably after the event. And it might be in a social environment, or it might be a real business one-to-one at a table talking about each other's business. But the key thing is, don't just walk away from the conference with whatever it is you are looking for. Go away with at least 3 to 5 one-to-one meetings. It's like a date. You are dating somebody, you're not going to go there and propose marrying them on that first date. You're going to go there to explore, to investigate, to learn more about them, find out how you can serve them or how others can serve them so you can connect them. That is how you take something that you might be very nervous about and end up with something very, very powerful, which will not just impact your life, but impact the life of the person you're meeting and hopefully the rest of the world because we are in the sustainability game. I hope this has been useful for you. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.